Welcome to the Bringing Simplicity podcast, where launches come to life. I'm Judy, the co-host and co-owner of Bringing Simplicity. I've been helping businesses build their launch processes for hypergrowth by simplifying sales and hiring. I'm committed to your success through leveraging your people and systematizing for scale.
I'm Greta, co-host and co-owner of Bringing Simplicity. I've been helping businesses launch successfully for over a decade by multiplying their results through simple processes. I'm a data lover and technology lover who obsesses over every KPI. So grab your laptops and lattes and get ready to launch with simplicity.
So you all know I'm super excited to talk about tech today. I do laugh a little bit because every episode I feel like I'm like, this is my favorite part. This is one of my favorite parts, especially because it overlays with one of my other favorite parts, which is the data. And that is the tech piece of your launch, because there is no way that you could have a successful launch in 2024 without some sort of technology. We are not buying billboards. We are not publishing articles. That's not how we're getting the majority of people into our world. We are utilizing a wide variety of technology to simplify our launches, to get people into our world, to make our sales, all the things. So I have to giggle a little bit. Actually, I think you're a fellow tech lover. But when you think about technology and simplifying your launch, like what is like your gut response?
Yeah. For me, the main thing is overwhelm, but also excitement. Like, I know there's so many things, right? You were taught 10, 20 years ago, right? We didn't have a lot of the tools that we have now. We have an abundance of them. I think a lot of times come to us, Greta, and they're like, which platform do I use? Even like just which platform should I use to even like host my website, right? Like as simple as that. But there's so many options. So knowing which ones to use for their business, which one, especially if you're just getting into your business or you all of them. Some people, and then the latter is some people have too many. Like some clients
I was
have
just gonna say, I almost feel
everything.
like sometimes it's like people come to us and they're like, I have this, 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 and this. And I'm like, how many are you using?
Exactly. Like, have you ever gotten in like cars, like new cars, like especially if I'm renting a car and it's like a new car, I'm like, I don't know how to use most of this stuff. I feel like the same for a launch where they're like, I don't know what this button does, or I don't know what this feature does, but let's give it a try. So for me, it's a little overwhelmed, but also excited because I know once I learn how to use it, it does make my life so much easier. There is a little bit of a learning curve, and there is on anything, even things that you are familiar with. For instance, like driving a car. If you were to get into another new car, there would be a little bit where you would have to learn how softly you have to hit the brakes or things like that. So I'm excited to hear all things tech from you. I love listening to all of the tech pieces because I do enjoy using it. Once somebody teaches me, like
Yeah.
once you teach me how to use it, then I'll use it. And we usually find that with kids too.
Yeah. And so I just want to like circle back. If this is your first episode you're tuning into, what we talk through on these episodes is ways that we see people basically self-sabotaging their launches by one of our common mistakes. And so the common mistake that we're talking about today is underutilizing technology. And so we don't want you to ever underutilize your technology ever again. So we're going to talk through 3 areas that you can focus on to utilize technology in a way that serves you and simplifies your launch. Okay. The first one, I put it first because it's probably my favorite. It's also probably going to be the one that makes you guys go, I don't want to do that. So stick with us. We put this one first. We're like, eating the frog. We're talking about the one that people don't necessarily want to think about. And that is, I would say 99.9% of tech platforms have some sort of reporting capability that is capturing data for you that is literally pure gold. So I will give you a super concrete example. If we look at any email platform, they are going to tell you who opened your email, which if you've talked to me enough, I don't actually care about that because of the Apple privacy opens. But they're also going to tell you who clicked on your links, right? So why does it matter if somebody clicked on my link, Judy?
That means that they're more interested, right? Like if they the email and then they went to click the link, that's the same thing as like somebody. Let's like if you were to track somebody who was walking by your store, this was like a storefront business. But if somebody opens the door and enters and walks in past that like first table, first aisle, whatever, then they're definitely more interested in purchasing.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a pushback that we get from our clients, and I know that you have a solid response to. They clicked my link, but they didn't buy.
Yes. Yes. True, right? They didn't buy. I would reframe. We always talk about everything that we do with our clients is we also so I would reframe that to they didn't buy.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, right? I mean, think about your own buying decisions. You've probably seen an ad several times and you may ask for it for Christmas. Maybe it's on your holiday Christmas list. I have a few things on my holiday list where I'm like, oh, definitely want people buy me that when that time comes, right? So likely they have, but you're in their mind. They've clicked, they've consumed a little bit more content, interested, especially if there's price in your they're
Yeah.
even more interested in you. So they're in your world and that matters more than your opens, like to Greta's point, open aren't, apples to apples, kind of like true opens. But your click through rate is one of the most important things that we talk to. And especially if they're like a repetitive click through
Clicker.
person,
Yeah, for sure.
something that has got them. And I know Instagram's coming out with this cool feature, which I don't know if you heard about, but it's going to be one where it's like if you zoom in on a picture or something, it's going to alert that person, like you, that somebody zoomed in on your picture. So, like,
It's
that's to me like clicking through an email.
yeah.
It's a new feature that's coming out, supposedly. We'll see. You know how some of these things is it fake news?
I'm also thinking like, what are they zooming in on? But anyways.
Yeah. 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 What are they zooming in on? Like, what can they not see? But I don't know. Maybe they have poor eyesight. I don't know. So just going through that and knowing what your click through rate is way more important and finding out who those people are. How long have they been in your funnel? Right. And so, okay. So back to they didn't buy.
They didn't
Uh,
buy yet.
so
Yes.
reframe. That would be the first thing I would say. But then there's ways to that you're going to talk about how you can even use technology for those people who clicked and in the messaging you would put.
Absolutely. So, and Judy utilized the example of they're going to purchase in the future, like Christmas, right? I put it as like, I clicked something and I wanted to buy. And then my kiddo came in and distracted me and I set my phone down. And then I had to hop into a work meeting and that, you know what I mean? And it's and then, and then, and then. And so I still probably want to buy that thing, but I've forgotten about it. Like we are so inundated with messages, right? So I want you to not be discouraged when you see click throughs that do not result in sales. And we hear from our clients all the time that that feels discouraging. Do not let it discourage you. Instead, I want you to utilize those reports and I want you to tailor messaging specifically to, hey, I know you looked. What is holding you back? Or maybe not even what's holding you back. Cite that. I know how busy things can get. I saw that you started to book a call. I would love to speak with you. Do these 3 times work? And there are wide variety of ways to do this. So the way I'm talking is more specific to a high level platform where you have a combo of email and texting. And so you can engage in that ongoing conversation. If you're sending out a weekly newsletter and you have a book a call link, and that's the link that they clicked on, it may be just a really quick personalized email. And I will say that there is 100% a benefit to something that is slightly more personalized. Now, if you're getting like 300 clicks, okay, we're not going to be able to send a personalized. Then we may come up with a really well worded message. But if you only have 10 to 15 clicks, like, no, reach out to those people. Let them know you saw that they were interested. And hey, it's a new program. Like, I'd love to know, why you didn't buy. Like, you can just have a conversation like that. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're going to block you. Okay, cool. Bye. You weren't meant for my world anyways. So do not neglect those reports and the ability to then follow up based on the actions of people who are in your world.
Yeah, and to Greta's point that she just made, what do you have to lose to reach out to these people? And if you're, what's different about working with us is like Greta has the awesome technology brain, writing and marketing brain. And then coming into sales, you also get, for me, where it's like, hey, let's reframe all of the like they need you, right? They need
Yeah.
your service in some way, shape, or form. That's why they clicked. They clicked because they have a need and you have a way to serve. So you're doing a disservice by not reaching out and giving them the extra reminder, right? I mean, like I get upset when I go to a new place. Like I did even last week, Greta. I think I told you I was like, my place that I booked a manicure did not send me a text reminder, and I was upset that they didn't send me a text reminder.
I know. You're like, how am I supposed to remember that I
I'm
need
like,
to leave?
I supposed to remember. Like I almost forgot about it. Thank goodness I used my calendar and like booked stuff immediately. But I felt like not as cared for, honestly, than
Killer place.
other places I go to.
It's like, I can't wait to see you, Judy. Your
Like,
appointment's in an hour. Let us know if for some reason life got in the way and you can't come.
yeah, like I like those. Like I appreciate those. So,
I do too. I do.
right? And so those who are meant for you, to Greta's point, are going to appreciate the care that you're putting in to reach back to them. Honestly, if you're struggling with a launch, this is something that you have time to set aside to do, right? Serving your future customers are something that, lucky for you, you have time to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe in the long run, you'll be able to hire somebody to do it, but lucky for you, you get to connect them.
Yeah. I'm going to give one other example of how I utilize reports like this. So obviously click through is one really concrete, solid. Another is we run a ton of live masterclasses and we run ads to these masterclasses, right? So we're paying for each of these leads and we'll have anywhere from 3 to 600 people register to attend a masterclass. We never expect 100% of the people to attend. That's like completely unrealistic. I mean, even if you host a birthday party for your closest friends and family, there are going to be people who RSVP yes and then don't show up day of. Like, isn't it when you're planning your wedding, they say to like automatically discount like 10% of people who RSVP yes won't show up? Like the catering. I remember catering and I was like, what? We're not going to have enough food. And they're like, we promise you, like 10% of these doesn't show up. Okay, but I paid for those leads. Like, I don't want to just let them then live in my funnel just like every other person who's in my funnel. So when it comes time to run the masterclass again, guess who gets a very personalized email of, hey, I know that you were hoping to attend the last time and for whatever reason life got in the way. Well, I wanted to personally reach out to you. Now, this is a blast, but I wanted to personally reach out to you and let you know about our upcoming masterclass that's happening on this day at this day. If you're still interested in attending, let me know and I'll get you registered. Right?
Yeah.
So simple, but like so many people are just like, I have this huge email list. It does nothing for me. Well, what are you doing with it? Are you running reports like this that would help you know they registered and did not attend? And this is also on you because you have to have tagging, which we could have a whole call on tagging because actually Judy loves tagging probably more than me. Which is
I
funny.
love a good tag. I love a good tag, y'all. And that is from our experience with, for me, Infusionsoft and Keep and Greta, like Go High Level and other platforms. You know, a tag is great. It lets you kind of know like who these players are on
I
your.
was gonna say and it's funny because it's like, oh, it's just a tag. No, me and Judy have like a lot of conversations of like, is that tag usable that 8 months from now, I'm gonna know what that tag means, right? Like we spend a lot of time thinking about what tags. I mean, now we have system down, but in the beginning, when you're establishing your tags, it's not just like a haphazard decision.
Exactly. And if you're listening to this and you're like thinking like you're in the early stages of even starting your business, this pertains to you, right? So what's beautiful about working with Greta and I is that we've worked with 7 figure businesses, 7-figure businesses scale to 8, but we've also helped people scale from 0 to 7-figure businesses. And so we start this tackling immediately. Like when we come in, and we'll talk about this a little later, is we do like a tech audit even. That's part of your launch audit. We'll audit all of your tech and really see how it's working for you, because so many people are underutilizing these features in those platforms and they just don't know that or they don't know, to your point, Greta, of how important they are, where it's no, we're doing this to scale your business.
Right.
We're building these systems so when you have a 7-figure, 8-figure business, these systems are already in place to be like, oh, you want to buy this platform now, or you want to hire these team members? Awesome. Everything's already set up for you to bring them on board. They don't even have to set those.
Yeah, for sure. That's super exciting. And we utilize it organically in system. And then we are huge advocates of Notion. And Notion has tons of tagging. And so when you look at your reporting capabilities, even inside Notion, when you've tagged appropriately, I can narrow down the data even more. So again, I won't get too excited about data. We can get to the next part. But just know like these are things that matter. And if it's something that is lacking in your business, just hit us up on that piece too. Like me and Judy will clearly get super excited to talk to you about how you can maximize, even if you're 2 years in and you're like, I haven't been doing this for 2 years. What do I do now? Right? We can talk through that with you. Okay, so the next way that people are underutilizing technology and ultimately self-sabotaging their launch is they are manually doing things that could be automated with technology because they're in the camp of like, I'm just going to get like my email software and my CRM. And like, I'm not very good at tech, so I'm going to stick to that because I know myself and I'm just not a techie. Okay, we get it. But there are also like YouTube University to learn things where like, how much time are you wasting because you don't have a system in place? So a super straightforward one, we are not affiliated. We are not getting a payment from this, but many chat automations for your Instagram posts where, I mean, you see it all the time, right? Comment, blue scarf if you want my fit, as my daughter would say, right?
Yeah.
Uh, because that's totally what me and Judy do with our launches. Many chat can feel super overwhelming, especially if you've seen the really complex automations that can take place in many chat. And let me tell you, there are some really complex automations that even we pay to have built out, right? There are also super straightforward many chat automations, like, for example, if you're interested in attending my masterclass, comment masterclass below. And then it literally just sends a message that's like, hey, super excited you're interested in my masterclass. Click the link to register. It's like a one-step automation that anybody could do. And by not doing it, you're missing out because you're either having to manually respond to everybody or you're not saying something like that because you don't have a way to manage the flow of things that are coming in.
Exactly. But if you're someone on this call that's like, I'm too scared to do tech, every time I do it,
It breaks.
yeah, it breaks. It still breaks for us. Like technology is not perfect.
Yeah, it will always break.
It's always going to break. So that's probably not a you thing. Don't be scared. Don't be fearful of it. But if you want to scale your business, one, either get familiar with it and learn it, like Greta said, from YouTube technology, or invest in someone doing it for you because you're going to get a return investment. Guaranteed
Yeah,
you're going to make more sales, convert higher if you're using technology. Also, it's like a team member on your team without having to like manage all the pieces or interview or any of that the part, right? So it's an extra set of hands to help you the work.
for sure. I would say the other area where you're probably aren't aware of solutions out there for you is sending proposals and then following up on those proposals. So the automation piece after a proposal is sent, as well as the contract to like participating member. So, I mean, you could look at it as like your onboarding or your sales to onboarding piece. How much time is it taking you to quote unquote onboard each person? And would you be able to do that at scale? So if we came in and you had a 200K launch and sold 15 seats, do you have the bandwidth to onboard 15 people? What does your process look like currently? Right? And we don't ever expect things to happen overnight. So, for example, even with one of our clients who we've scaled quite a bit, automating the onboarding was actually one of the last steps that we automated because we were fine tuning some parts with like the email, the welcome email that went out and things like that. So, just know we don't expect you to do all of this at once, but it is things to start thinking about.
Yeah. Things to start thinking about and things that we do well. Again, when we come in and audit all the things is like we kind of have like future, like future idea list, right? But to Greta's point, we're tracking those things. So we're already tracking a onboarding SOP that we have in place, even though we haven't built the technology automation for it yet. We're typically building those SOPs using Loom or Notion and things like that. So if you're someone who is thinking about technology in your business, look at your SOPs and also document how long it takes you to do each part. And
Yep.
you might then just, oh yeah, kind of
Maybe
makes
this is a priority.
sense. And it takes me 2 hours right now for every single person on board. If I sell 5 people in 1 week, oh man, I'm gonna be stretched. So probably start there.
Yeah, and I would say, and I love that you brought this up, Judy, that we start capturing information earlier. Even certain things like where we'll talk to clients and I'm like, "Do you have a standard welcome email you send to everybody?" And they're like, "No, I just send like a personalized one each time." Like, I love the heart of a personalized welcome email, but, like, can we have one paragraph that's personalized then and you have, like, a template for the rest of it? So even thinking about what pieces can I template, or I'm, like, saying basically the same thing to every single one, but, like, for some reason, I feel the need to, like, type out the whole email. Like, no, no, no. Like, even before we fully automate it, save that as a Google template. And if you do not know how to create a Google template, because 'cause we've been surprised how many people don't know how to create a Google template in your email, please comment. We will help you out with that piece because it's not automating, but at least it's just a 2-click to create an email that you can then personalize. Okay. And so then the third way that you are sabotaging your launch and underutilizing technology is not knowing how to utilize the software. And I giggle a little bit when I say this because me and Judy, first of all, aren't aware of how much we know a lot of the time. I mean, we are, but we aren't. But also, we learn from each other. And so, for example, I will watch Judy do things in Sheets and I'm like, huh, I didn't know you could do it that way. Right? Because she has spent endless hours in Sheets, like an insane amount of time in Sheets. And so she knows like all of these little quick tricks that make her super efficient, right? Similar thing happened to me with a client when I was working in Canva and we had to resize an image. We wanted to keep everything the same, but we needed like a story size versus a post size. And I did like 2 button clicks. And she was like, huh, I just never knew you could do that. So I always recreated the image. It didn't feel like an issue. So I wasn't seeking a solution. And so, how much time are you investing in the tech you already know to learn its features? And I think we alluded to this with the car piece, right? I mean, how many people actually read their car manual? If you're one of them, like, high five to you. I mean, there are still things I'm learning on my car like 2 years later. I'm like, oh, that's what that button's for, right? When it comes to tech, it's different. When we start a new piece of software, I usually dedicate an hour a day to like watching YouTube videos on various features because I'm not going to know it's a solution unless I have a problem. And I don't necessarily always view everything as a problem.
Yeah. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of like those TikToks or those reels where they're like, did you know this? And then like someone goes and tries it, like you need like of course they're like, oh, you can do that. And then they go and they do that to like their car where they're like, oh, you push this button on this type of car, it rolls down all your windows or something at the same time or something like that. I'm like obviously there's so much technology out there that we don't know. I'm sure in my house right now that I'm not super aware of. Um, and you don't know what you don't know, right? But surrounding yourself with others, which is why we love supporting clients that are running certificate offers because they're typically running like a coaching program or a mastermind. And in that, you're learning not just from the coach that you've hired, but from other members in that community of how they, and you're going to get there quicker than, like if you can imagine, I think is, I'm sure every time during All Star basketball game, like if LeBron James and Steph Curry and like all these players were in the same room together, like how much wealth of knowledge would you learn from watching them, from hearing those conversations, being in the same room?
I
Um,
mean, Judy, let's talk about the Indy Fuel, not Indy Fuel, Indy Fever.
it's like, what is the
The Indy Fuel is the hockey team.
oh, why do we have that when I lived in Indiana? I don't remember this.
I'm starting to get into hockey season.
That's so
But
that
when we
was
look
so
at the Fever, I actually am super intrigued to know what their 3-point percentage was prior to Caitlin Clark coming.
yeah,
And if look at the people who like Caitlin Clark has really like jived with, and they're like just nailing threes right now. I'm like, they have to be watching her and being like, oh, she's doing that subtle difference. Or
right,
like something with the flick of the wrist, right?
right,
Like
exactly.
there has to be a correlation.
And there is, right? Like until someone brings it to you, an example too of even like Steph Curry, he, beyond the 3 point, like now so many players are doing that. Like they're like 6'10" players are even doing now with their shooting. I'm like, oh my gosh, because like to your point, they're watching and they're learning how to
Yeah.
do these things from other people. So I don't believe that knowledge is power, but it's potential power. Execution is power. I know. Tony Robbins. I know. He's always in my head. Knowledge is not power. Execution is power. It's potential
But you can't execute until you have the knowledge.
until you have the knowledge, right? But you got to start somewhere.
You
So
got to put yourself in rooms. You got to ask the questions. You got to set aside the time to learn the tech you have.
Mhm.
Because if you think about it, you literally could have $10,000 sitting just waiting for you to earn it by doing the things we talked about today, by implementing a many chat automation that gets that many more people to register for your event, by then utilizing your reports to see who's clicking a book a call link and reaching out to them personally, by, you know, being knowledgeable of like, ooh, I also know that in this technology, not only can I send a personalized email, but I can double up and send a text as well, and so I'm gonna utilize all of these features, and suddenly you've made 2 additional sales. Like, what's that worth to you?
exactly, exactly. And to bring it back, because I just have a pet. Sorry, everybody. I just have a pet for hiring, but like this goes back to like the team and who you just hired. Us, as your team, awesome. But if you're thinking about all these things, everyone that if you're running an online business, a mastermind using your computer in this day and age at all in your business, you need to find team members who are very, very curious about technology, who absolutely love technology, are curious. That should be an interview question that you like, what is the latest technology that you've learned? How do you utilize it? And what has it done for you personally and professionally?
Yeah,
Right.
and how do you stay up to date even,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And if they are not giving you a current, there's so many new ones. Like if they're not giving you, do yourself a favor and don't hire them. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't care how many years of experience they say they have. I don't care. No,
Yeah,
don't do it. So, it leads back to just really finding out again who's going to do this. Is it going to be you? Is it going to be a team? Is it going to be someone on your team? And really starting to write down how much time you're spending on it. We use Clarify even to track our tasks of what we're doing, what we're spending, because the goal in your business, if you're an owner, a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, whatever it is, coach, your time is so valuable and you want to get out. Like you want to be able to fire yourself from doing a lot of things. You want to be able to fire yourself from doing these patients. You want to be able to fire yourself from onboarding your clients, right? So log everything.
yeah.
And gonna as someone who doesn't love data, as much as you, or reading the data. I do love me a good report and love the technology. But what are your tips for someone who's listening to this and it's like, where do I start? How do I make this much easier? Like if I were to go in and look at my tech tomorrow, what are, 1 to 3 things that they should do?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is to have a full understanding of what your current tech stack, which is just a fancy word for all of the tech platforms you currently have purchased for your company. which maybe sounds super basic, but how many of us have bought something and then just forgot about it and either paid for the year, so it's just sitting unused, or you totally know about it, but you don't use it. So just make a list of every tech platform you have and what its purpose is. So whether it's CRM, lead generator, so that would be like your ManyChat, is it your email software? Having that as just like a starting point. And then I would almost categorize it like I can picture a spreadsheet. So I'm going to put what is the name of the software, what is it used for? And then I would take time to find where are like tutorials for it organically in the system, right? So like ManyChat wants you to be successful using their platform. The more you use it, the more you talk about it, the more money they make, right? So they are going to have training. So I would also have a link to any trainings that they currently have available. And then I'm going to look through these and I would say pick one to learn really closely over the next month, right? Don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't get overwhelmed. And maybe think about your biggest pain points. So we talked again, like about tracking your time. Are you spending like a crazy amount of time onboarding a new client? And if so, go to your CRM and see, does your CRM have pieces built into it to help with onboarding? And if it doesn't, then maybe you put a pin in it because you don't want to buy a new tech piece right now. But figure out what is like the thing that's taking you the most time and potentially could have help from your current tech platforms. And then I'm going to reframe it too of like, just remember that you are probably sitting on money of leads who are already in your world or software you have to bring leads into your world, right? Like, are you utilizing your email platform well enough to capture from your freebie? Like, most of them have landing page capabilities, right? So, like, have you not built a landing page in ConvertKit because you don't know how to? And so you have this amazing lead magnet and nowhere for people to get it because you haven't taken the time to learn it, right? So equate everything to dollars, whether it's time or the ability to bring people into your world. And we look at people as people, not as dollar signs. So don't get it twisted. I promise you. If you listen to earlier episodes, you know how much we care about people as people. But it is dollars, right?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're in business to make money. At some point in time, right? You may not be making money right away. It might be a little bit of an investment, but you definitely like that's the goal is to make money. So using the tools that you and building a spreadsheet. Hey, this is how which is what we would do. We would come in and we audit you're using what you're using it for. And like Greta said, don't try to learn too many things. And I always say this, like it's like going back to the gym after a while and you try to do every machine and you're there for like 3 hours. Like you're not going to go. It's not going to be fun. Make sure it's something that you enjoy. I mean, I would even add that in is like pick one that you're kind of excited about to learn, right? That you really want
Yeah.
to learn, that interests you. And it's okay. You're not going to be interested in everything in your business, but there might be one technology where you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. I appreciate it. So if you, again, change your mindset to, I dread technology to appreciate all of that technology. I'll appreciate technology, what technology does for me. If you're reframing that and giving gratitude to technology, then you're probably going to use it more. You're probably going to enjoy using it more. But you can see, now why and how technology is so important in your business. On our website, where we have a list of all of the platforms that we use, that we have used, that we can use in your business. And even sometimes people will read with us and be like, "Hey, is this the right way to go?" And sometimes we'll be like, "Based on the type of business you have, no, you already have awesome tools to use. Like until you reach this point in revenue, you probably don't need to go there." And that's what's great again about working with Greta and I. We've seen businesses at different points and kind of know like, hey, this is like how much you should be spending on your technology at this based on what your revenue margins are, your team structure, all of that. Or maybe we need to evaluate your team structure. So, but we'd love to hear if you have any specific questions about any specific tools. Maybe in the future, we'll probably do ones that are more specific to, hey,
Yeah, like
I'm running
reviews of our
ads.
favorite ones.
Right. Like specific ones for maybe ads, specific ones for even y'all. Like we do a lot of hiring for our clients too, which is great. I've been an HR director. We've done a lot of hiring. I've been in recruitment. before. So we do offer that because sometimes we need that, right? If you're a startup, we need to hire for you. And we do automate those items as well. So yes, we think technology, reports, automations are important in every part of your business. So yeah, anything else, Greta, that you want to end with? Technology?
I mean, I would just say don't be afraid, have fun. Most things can be undone. Like there's always an undo button, and set time on your calendar and maybe title it like fun with technology or something silly like that so that you can get in that mindset. So just recognize that your launches and your business in general can be simplified with tech.
Um, we'll see you next time for the fourth mistake, right? The fourth, yeah, most common mistake that will sabotage your launch. And that is one of my favorites, which is your follow through process. So how to keep those leads that you have, like Greta said, like those leads that are clicking, fresh and engaged. So we'll see y'all next.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's episode. I hope this gave you some clarity and, more importantly, the confidence to simplify and scale your business without adding to your plate. Before you go, I have a quick favor to ask. Leave a quick review and get a coffee on us. Reviews help more business owners like you find the podcast, and we love reaching them. As a thank you, each week we'll randomly pick a reviewer to win a coffee on us. Starbucks or Dunkin', you pick. Just leave a review, screenshot it, and send it to us on IG at Bringing Simplicity to Enter. And if you could use more simplicity in your biz, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. That's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Talk to you next week.